and greetings from England. I apologize for not perfect lighting because I was supposed to do it. I planned to do it from my home, from my office in Italy, but the train, um, different hurdles, let's say, changed my plans, and right now I'm in the UK, in England, and that's why the lighting is not perfect. Still, I hope that you like everything that I'm going to talk about. And today, I'm going to talk about goals. Right now, it's a hot topic because everybody writes the New Year's resolutions now. And there was one person who came to me last week and said, "Look," and he showed to me books of his New Year's resolution, books of goals. There are champions in this field who write a lot of goals. And he asked questions about, why is it that I didn't succeed in the previous year when I wrote another book, 2002 New Year's resolution? Why didn't I succeed? And this is a regular, common problem when we set goals but don't achieve them. There's this ratio of how many goals we set and how many we achieve. And so I decided to address this topic. That everybody is buzzing despite a huge number of books, podcasts, articles. There are still issues that obviously somehow people face, and I'd like to discuss today. For those who don't know me, I'm Natalie. I'm a business trainer and a coach. And for the next hour, I'm going to cover the topic of main mistakes that we make when we set goals, and why is it that we don't achieve them? What is it that we do? And if you, later at the end, I'm going to cover the hottest topic of all, which is money as a goal. And if you boil down all the questions about goals, there are three types. One is, do I have to set goals about everything, all the areas in my life? Do I have to cover all areas of my life? Then second type of questions is, why is it that I write them so well, according to the book or according to the expert, but I don't achieve them? Is it something wrong with me, or is it not my goal? And the third type of question is, should I really set goals at all? Maybe it's just a trend, and then a couple of years they will invent something else to be successful, and I don't need to set goals. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. And just to start, why is it that we don't we set goals more often than we achieve them, while even though our brain is wired to set and achieve goals? That's right, our brain is wired with our brain constantly sets goals and achieves them. And a good example is commuting. When it's something habitual to you, then you probably know that your brain takes you from your home to your workplace without you even sometimes being aware of that. You're mentally not present to this process. You're probably somewhere in the past. For example, oh my God, I shouldn't have said it to my boss. Now what do I do? Or somewhere in the future. Oh, I should add some data to my tomorrow's presentation. Otherwise, they're going to think I'm incompetent. So while you are mentally somewhere else, your brain has this perfect shortcut to your workplace, and perfect sequence of buttons like lift button, phone button, toilet button, then coffee machine button, and somewhere in between you probably press the laptop button. So the brain is really good at achieving goals, at having this vision of how to get this outcome, taking into account the context and your past experience. Depending on your personality type, the optimal way is different. You know it well from your experience that within one situation, people think differently, perceive the situation differently, and act differently. So your brain, your unique brain, finds the best way, the optimal way, how to get you from A to B. For example, when you wake up and you want coffee or tea, and if you're at home, you most probably, after the bathroom, go straight to your coffee machine in pajama. While if you're in the hotel, you most probably first get dressed and then go either to the restaurant or to the coffee shop nearby. Or if you're like me, you're probably asking everyone around where the best coffee place is and check the Google Maps because, again, it's about having a vision of how to get the outcome in taking into account the context, the hotel, the need that I want to satisfy, what's the outcome, I want coffee for the energy boost, and the previous experience. In my past experience, I know that the nearest coffee place is not the best coffee place. And since my need is also to get joy from coffee, then obviously I ask people or find my way. My brain immediately starts working. Okay, how do I check out? How do I figure out what's the best coffee around here? That's what our brain does. So if you're happy with your life, if you're totally satisfied with all the areas of your life, your work, your career, your family, your relationships at work, your relationships in the family with friends, your life-work balance, your health. If you're satisfied with all these issues, with all the areas, then I recommend you not to set any goals because your brain does its job perfectly. It copes with all the challenges and successfully. But if you're dissatisfied with certain areas of your life, then most probably it's a good idea to set goals, to sit down in the driver's seat of your life and hold the steering wheel, because goals are really good tools to change something in your life. It's just a tool, but a very efficient one. Why do we need those goals? Answering the question, do we have to set goals at all? Well, see, goals, let's say our self-preservation instinct is wired to preserve our system, our body, our life. It's also valid for the organizations, for the units, for the societies. So it's aimed at self-preservation. And so it resists all the changes. Goals are an efficient tool to change something and overcome this resistance. I'll give you an example, a business example. There was a business owner who saw his two salespeople were drowning in the paperwork about clients. And so he decided to buy a CRM, to introduce a CRM system. So he bought software, he hired people who installed it, just to find out 1 month later that the salespeople didn't use it. And he asked why. And they said, oh, it's complex, it's different, it's difficult. So they got to their habitual way. That's a good example how organization as a system resists any changes, any novelty. So in order to overcome this resistance, in order to introduce changes that we want, we use goals as a tool. But these goals have to be clear, and also their steps have to be simple. But that's a bit later. Now, there are only two reasons why we don't achieve goals. And the first reason is that the goals are impossible to reach. For example, someone writes, I want to become a CEO next year, even though he or she has no education, proper education, and no previous experience in leadership. So this goal is impossible to reach within this period of time. And the second reason is that people quit before they reach the goal. They, for example, the same guy who wants to be a CEO, he, for example, says, okay, I'm going to be, writes a goal, I'm going to be a CEO in 7 years, for example, and he gets a proper education, and he invests into additional courses, and he has this career going up. He's taking more and more leadership positions, and before before he achieves the goal, he quits for some reason. So quitting before achieving the goal is the second reason, the main actual reason why we don't achieve goals. But let's see, why is it that we quit? Here there are a lot of reasons. And the first one that I want to talk about is about unclear goals. I call them go there, I don't know where. For example, somebody comes and says to me, oh, you've got to promote yourself. And I'm like, right, I have to promote myself. What exactly does it mean? Do I have to sing, dance? Do I have to write a blog? Do I have to hire someone? So promoting myself is very unclear. Or, for example, it can be too big. For example, I own a house, and I rent an apartment, and I have bank debt, and then I decide next year I'm gonna buy a house, and my brain's like, wait a second, you can't even cope with the debt. How are you gonna buy a house next year? So the goal is too big, and that's why it's too unclear, and that's when we start to sabotage. That's when procrastination comes, and we slowly, the brain not knowing what to do, it goes into switches back to that simple, known, familiar daily grind. So mistake number 1 is unclear goals. There is this system, you probably heard about it, everybody talks about it, SMART goals. George Doran, I think, he was the director of one corporation in Washington. He wrote this article in 1981 stating that every business unit has to create SMART goals. And this is a cool thing for business. I agree that in business that this works. While in private life, it's not the case. And actually, in the same article where everybody, where he introduces this acronym SMART, which is the goals have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. He writes that it's not all 5 criteria that can be used, even in business. In private life, by far, especially when we talk about self-development, we cannot really know when it will happen. Not everything depends on us. For example, I love this goal. I will earn 1 million in 2023. First of all, it's abstract. It seems to be specific, 1 million, dollars or pounds, and time-bound, 2023. But it's quite abstract for the mind. So be careful with these tools. The key in your goals is that your goal has to be simple, concrete, and clear for your mind so that it doesn't start sabotaging. The next mistake that everybody does, not everybody, but many do, is not stating the goal in the zone of their control. What do I mean by that? For example, one guy set a goal. I want to become a popular blogger. Those who know me probably heard me many times saying that it's important to focus on the zone of your control. There are 3 zones in your life. The first one is outside of the zone of your control, which is, for example, lockdown or the war, or something that you absolutely have no control. The second zone is the zone of our influence. It's where we have certain impact, but we don't exercise full control. For example, one man wanted to teach a lesson, teach his partner a lesson, and the result was that they broke up. Oops. He wanted one result, there was a totally different outcome because the other person is not in the zone of our control. It's in the zone of the influence. And the third zone is the zone of our control. It's what we can change, what depends solely on us, which is our emotions, our thoughts, our behavior. So when we place when we move our desire, what we want to achieve into the zone of our control, then we really make it more clear for the brain. For example, a blogger who wanted to be popular, he moved a goal into his zone of control, and it turned out that he wants to write an interesting blog that where he shares his passion for traveling with others. Or for example, he wrote, I want to identify and develop skills that I'm missing to become a good, successful blogger. Or for example, he wrote that I'm gonna do a monthly trips, like weekend trips, to explore his neighborhood, his county, his country, his planet, and share this experience with others on his blog. So these are 3 concrete goals that he set in the zone of his control. So mistake number 2, when we set goals outside of the zone of our control. But here's the catch. For example, the same blogger, he thinks, okay, so reading a book about blogging, is it in the zone of my control? Yes. Would it be useful for my goal? Yes. Attending the courses about writing, would it be good? Yes, definitely. Buying a web hosting, or buying domain and ordering a beautiful website for my blog. Will it help me to reach the goal? Definitely. So 3 months later and a lot of money later, he realizes that he's not too close to his goal. So here, the key question would be, without which action I won't reach my goal? Without which action I won't reach my goal? And so he figured out that with his blog, he's gonna make posts every single week on a free platform, medium.com or blogger.com, and he will ask his friends and relatives to give him feedback. And he will figure out using online tests and maybe consultation and also feedback from his friends and relatives, which skills he's missing, and he'll develop to write a successful blog. And also he came up with the idea that he will save money from 3 lunches, bringing food from home to his work, so that he has funds for his monthly trips that he wanted to do and share on his blog. So mistake number 3, even though certain steps can be in the zone of your control, make sure that they lead directly to your goal, that they don't deviate you from your plan. Now let's move on to the next one. And the next one is, it sounds like that. I want $1 million. I want to go to Bali and learn to meditate. I want to learn Spanish because it's good for my career. I want to skydive. I've always wanted to skydive. And I want to spend more time with my kids and want to go to Disneyland with them during this holiday. And yes, I want more time for myself. So by the end of this list of the goals, your brain would probably go nuts, would be burned out. And this is a good example when there are too many goals and brain is aimed at self-preservation, as I said, at actually saving energy, conserving energy. And that's why it always finds the, let's say, the shortest, the most optimal way to use less energy and to get the desired outcome. That's why brain lives on habits, forms habits, because it's a safe energy activity. Once, there is a quote I want to quote to you. People do not decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. What I mean by that, or this person, somebody famous said that we are a walking habit, or walking habits, set of walking habits. And when we want to change a lot of things, we kind of have this illusion that when we write all this, book of goals, we somehow probably think that the next morning I'm going to wake up somebody else. I'm going to just wake up a Tom Cruise, or I'm going to wake up a Barack Obama, or I'm going to wake up Michelle Obama. But you have to remember that you're going to wake up yourself with your old habits, with your duties, with your obligations, with your routines, with the job and all that. So goals do help to change certain habits, but let's say it's not possible to wake up somebody else. So too many goals is actually the way not to get anything. Mistake number 4, too many goals. In general, if you ask me how many goals to set, I would say from 1 to 3 goals per year, depending on the scale of your, of the transformation that you want, on the scale of changes that you want to get. Why is that? Because you have price to pay for every change. If you want to have a career growth, you probably will spend less time with your family. So you have to be ready to give up something. I really doubt that you have 1 or 2 free hours that you do nothing per day, or nothing happens to you. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about food. I'm not talking about sleep. I'm not talking about social media, because it's integral part of our life. I'm talking about, it's like you wake up and say, okay, I want to earn 1 million, and so I'm going to start. When will you do it? Do you have energy for that? Do you have resources? So it's too many goals that can really hinder you. You might get stuck again. For your brain, it's going to be something impossible to do. There was one woman who came to me and she said, I've always wanted to be a leader. I've always wanted to have this CEO position. And now that finally I've been offered the CEO position, my husband says, if you're going to accept it, I'm going to divorce you. Meaning she had to choose either to pay the price of her career, of her CEO position, to pay with marriage or not. And the currency that you must be prepared to pay can be anything depending on your context. It can be time, it can be space, it can be effort, it can be money, it can be mental, emotional, or behavioral habits that you have to give up. It can be leaving the parental home. It can be going to the parental home. It can be hiring a nanny. It can be firing someone. It can be giving up your habit of, let's say, or habit or belief in something. For example, one man, his father was a governmental worker, but you know how parents, they sometimes impose dreams that they didn't fulfill in their life. So his father really wanted his son to be a businessman. So he, from early childhood, he was talking about business and private business and working in business. And so this man made this career in business, to just find out when he was 35 that he loved arts and he wanted to be in art somehow. And so that was something he had to give up his promise to his father, even though his father was dead. Still, he was living on this promise. I promised my father. So, price to pay for the new changes that will bring the goals that you want to achieve. And the three magical questions, they are interconnected, can help you in that. What is it that you want to have? What is it that you want to do to have it? What is it that you're ready to do? And what is it that you don't do that you don't have it? And the third one, what is it that you want to be? What kind of identity you want to have in regards to this goal? And this man, this businessman, the manager, he said that what do I want to have? I want to have a job in arts, somehow connected with arts. What do I want to do? I want to combine my managerial experience with art. It's really something that he was passionate about. And what is it that I want to be? Well, and here he discovered, I want to give up this identity of a successful manager. It's something that blocked him. Also, the promise of his father, because this idea of success and business, so he had to give up this idea of being a successful manager in the pharmaceutical area and become a beginner in the art industry. While combining with that the advanced managerial skills. Mistake number 5, naive expectation that goal just will happen to you or it will be easy. No, you will need to have be ready to pay the price. Now let's move to the next one. The next one is also tricky. I'll give you an example. There is this type of people, the domineering leaders who like to control, who like to order. They want their way or highway, or in Britain it would sound my way or motorway, which means that he was very authoritarian. And now with all these, the reassessment of leadership and all those new books and trends, and he set a goal. I want to be a democratic leader. And then there's another guy, a manager, who actually was fed up with similar toxic boss. And he said, enough for me. I'm gonna create my own business, enough of this slavery. So I'm gonna set up my own company. I'm gonna do business fairly. I'm gonna treat people fairly. They're gonna be all like my family. And so he invested all his saving into his private business, to find out 3 years later that all those his family, they don't work so diligently, so hard as he did, and they were not as good as he was, and so he couldn't break even for the 3rd year in a row. So they probably somehow created excuses. The authoritarian boss said, oh, this is all those people, they don't see why I'm good, and they don't listen to me, and they have their own interests, and I have to control them and tell them what to do. And this manager was saying, "Oh, those people, I wanted them to be like my family, and they, don't. There's no fair give and take." So there were, let's say, certain excuses why they didn't achieve their goals. But the true reason was there was an inner conflict between their identity, their personality, and their goal. Uh, in in the case with the domineering type, there was a conflict between his goal to be a democratic leader and his core belief of his personality type, which is the life is a battle and I have to be strong. So how could he give up control if he perceived the world as the war zone, and he couldn't give up control? And more than that, every time he felt threatened. He wasn't really threatened, but he was threatened. He was already defensive, and the best defense is attack. So he attacked many. He was quite an aggressive type. So in his case, there was a conflict between his goal to be a democratic leader and his entrenched habits of attacking people, of controlling people. In case with the manager, there was a conflict between his goal to be, to have this leadership, to have company, to be a leader, a democratic leader. But the problem was that he was a great team player. He wasn't a good leader. He was missing some skills. It's lonely at the top. Sometimes you have to make decisions on your own. Sometimes you have to do certain things that may be against everybody else, but that's because the business requires it. It's tough. And he wanted to be nice with everyone. It was easy for him. So, but he was missing. And so there was inner conflict there. And when something is in conflict, something new is in conflict with our deep-rooted habits, guess what wins? Deeply rooted habits. So it's important to understand that, to be aware of this conflict, and discovering personality type would be a useful thing. You would immediately understand what exactly hinders your goals, what exactly holds you back in your change. So this boss failed epically at the beginning because he tried to manipulate his way into becoming a democratic boss. He sort of wanted to win people with manipulation, buying them, just to find out that it doesn't work with people. They feel everything. And only when he failed, he understood that it's he has to face hard and deep work. And at this point, you would say, but Natalie, if it's my goal, if it's something that helps my true nature, if it's something that helps me grow and develop, shouldn't it be easy? Shouldn't I be motivated to grow? And I would say, well, yes, in a way, but deeply rooted habits, they are so strong that you have to expect hard work. And this boss, the authoritarian boss, he changed his goal from I want to be a democratic boss to I want to learn to respect others no matter what position they take. To respect others, to respect, it's way deeper. It's not easy to just, okay, I'm going to start respecting everyone. It's deeply something that a skill not easy to learn. And again, it's not that you wake up tomorrow and start respecting people. So, but learning to respect others balances his personality. in case with the manager who wanted to have a family business, he was actually overdoing with respecting. He was very compassionate, as I said. He was very understanding, and for him, this goal of being more respectful would be even inflating more of his imbalance. So he actually transformed his goal into, I want to be a solopreneur. I want to learn how to make decisions on my own, how to also understand what it is to also have the results of my decisions. And then after that, after successfully learning that, after developing skills of carrying responsibility for his own decisions, carrying out, those decisions, implementing, being responsible for that, he transformed into another goal, which is, I want to expand my business to a small business with partnership and employees. But he was already ready with certain skills, leadership skills. So my goal, when we say my goal, true to myself, it is true that it resonates in our bodies. We can have resonance in different parts depending on which area is more sensitive. Some say that it resonates, oh, I felt such a clarity, I had such a vision. Yes, this is what I've always wanted. How didn't I think about it before? So they have this clarity. Somebody says, oh, I felt such lightness, or I felt so energized, or both. Somebody says, I felt so excited, feelings, I felt so elevated and at the same time calm, not anxious anymore. So the resonance can be anywhere when you understand that this is your goal. But the myth is that it's going to be easy, that if it's my goal, it's going to be easy peasy, and that's it. To get the clarity on this topic, that helps you overcome this inner conflict between the new changes in your life and the old habits of your personality, is again those three magical questions. What is it that I want to have? What is it that I want to do? And what is it that I want to be? And the question, what is it that I want to be, about identity, was the crucial for the boss, for the authoritarian boss. I asked him, what kind of person do you want to be so that people love you, respect you, want to copy you, want to be around you? And he changed focus from others to his own persona. And when he also understood his personality type, his core belief about the battle and being strong, that's when he understood that respect is something that he was missing. Respecting others, not for the strength, but for being who they are. This is something that was crucial. And as soon as he learned the skill of respecting others, his relationship with his subordinates, with his kids, with his partner, with his friends, with his parents improved enormously. So these, again, helpful three questions. What do I want to have? What I want to do for that goal? And what do I want to be? Mistake number 6, not being ready for the deep transformation. And that will require, because of the inner conflict. And here I would recommend to explore, to create sort of like a toolbox for yourself, because this transformation period is not going to be easy. So the toolbox of how you're going to support yourself, the foundation of support going through that transitional period, because habits, your brain will try to say, oh, come on, let's go back to old familiar known, and all that. But how you're going to go through this transformation period is the key, because it takes me to another point. Overall, our civilization is intolerant to discomfort now. In the past, probably in the medieval ages, we were different. Now it's all about comfort. It's about comfortable chair, comfortable office, comfortable couch, comfortable car, comfortable phone. Everything is about comfort. And any change in our lives, when you try to achieve goal, will always be out of the comfort zone. Always. It's not going to be easy. And depending on, again, your personality type, you might have certain advantages. For example, there is a type of people who are adventurous, and they might say, okay, let's consider it as an adventure. So they might have energy boost here, or certain, let's say, personality support in this transformation. There is another type who says, who have strong willpower. It's like a well-developed muscle. They have strong willpower that they exercise. So for them, this will be an advantage in this transformational period on the way to their goals. And there is type that just are very patient. They really are patient and tolerant to discomfort, and that could be their advantage. Others suffer even more sometimes. And so I don't know why it's called comfort zone, though, because it's not really comfort zone. It's something that is known and familiar to us, not really comfortable, but it's something that we're used to, and so we don't want to change, and we need, let's say, willingness to get out of that familiar and known. And for example, this aggressive boss, an example of not comfortable zones. He was not comfortable with his acute aggression attacks, because later, people would quit, people would be offended. So he knew that it didn't serve him. And it was not comfortable at all. It was awkward after those aggression, those attacks. But when he felt threatened, it's not that he was threatened, when he felt threatened, he just attacked back. And it's another example that it's not comfortable, but it's just known. And he had, when he understood it, how disruptive was this habit, he had to change it. So mistake number 7, it's naive to expect that all along the way it's going to be the same. You're going to feel the same, or even motivated, elevated, and all that. No, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be comfortable, but don't give up. Don't give up there. It's normal. It's absolutely natural process of reaching the goal. It's like all those Hollywood movies, they take example of the hero's path. There is this book of, forgot the author, who analyzed, the myths and fairy tales of all the different nations, nationalities. And the script is the same. It's the hero's path. When we leave the comfort or the familiarity of our home, and we step into unknown, and we face our dragons, and the dragons can be external or internal. We face our dragons, challenges, it can be challenges of that, something that doesn't depend on us. For example, if I quit a job and I start from anew, it's a challenge, something outside of me, and I cope with that. Or it can be an inner dragon, which is for the aggressive boss to, to control his emotions, to control his anger. My recommendation here is, as toolbox, in the toolbox, there should be this tool that is inner knowing that it's going to be okay, that you will survive through the storm. You will go through it. And mindful observation is another tool that will help you just observe this stormy weather, and then it passes by. before you quit. So the next one is that another, let's say, opposite. One is we expect everything comfortable. The other is like, oh, we're going to do the hardest way. I'm going to eat this frog. For those who don't know, Eat This Frog, I think it's the book. It's the idea that you do the hardest things first in the morning. But for example, in case of the blogger, he decided that at a certain point he wants to contact the people on social media and to engage them into his blog. And since he was more introverted, it was a nightmare for him. So he tried to avoid it. Well, he noticed that after watching a comedy or after going out with his friends, he was okay doing that. And it was mostly in the evening. So what I'm saying, my point is, be flexible. Don't stick to certain rules. What's good for one person is not good for somebody else. But if you have a clear list of tasks that lead directly to your goal, then you can juggle. You can see what you can do now, what you can do later, depending on your mood, depending on your energy, depending on your desire, context, whatever, where you are, for example. So it's not necessarily that you have to eat the frogs. Sometimes they become pleasant, depending on the time of the day or week of the day. Because if if there are too many frogs, you can get drained, and that's you have to save energy, because again, this period of reaching the goal is not going to be easy. Sometimes what I do is that when I set a task and I postpone it, like next day, tomorrow, the day after, again tomorrow, and second week, third week, then I start doubting if I really need that task, if this task will take me to my goal. So I question it, and if not, I just delete it. Because remember, goal is your hypothesis. You didn't do it in the past. You don't have experience. And if somebody else did it, it's their experience, their context, their experience, their situation. It's totally different. So you are here trying and testing, and maybe this task is something that you don't need. You have other ways how to achieve your goal. I'll give you an example. There was this woman. She is the type of personality. She has this type of personality, very sensitive, very flexible, creative. The art person. But she decided that she wants a leadership position, and she wanted to be a Michelle Obama type. Michelle Obama type is the perfectionist type. It's dutiful, will-powered. Very good, very well organized. If you know the Swiss watch, that's Michelle Obama. So this woman, let's call her Sarah, creative, flexible, adaptive, fluid, not very well organized. She set a goal to read a book on leadership every morning from 7 to 7:30 a.m. And 9 times out of 10, she failed. Because what works for somebody doesn't work for somebody else. So after questioning, after I asked her a couple of questions, she started doubting that this was the task that would lead her to her goal. And so she created a new goal, which is, I'm going to participate in the on-site, offline training on leadership. I think it was on weekends. And she did it with pleasure. She didn't skip any single meeting because it was fun for her. It was she was social person. It was fun to communicate with others, to share experiences, to share her. She was very good at sharing her emotions, sharing her epic fails. So it worked really well for her. So my point is that when you start, you procrastinate, you know, doubt it, question it, and maybe delete it. Or if you question it but you didn't delete it, that means that you must do it. And then there is another way how to get away is, how can you can ask yourself, how can I enjoy this process? Forget what the results. How can I have fun doing this? What is it that I can do about it? And the blogger who didn't like to contact people on social media, he actually invented this game for himself. He's gonna try to guess if this person is passionate about traveling or not, as he is. And actually, this game somehow transformed the messages that he was sending, and he got better response. So it was kind of involving into the game that helped him overcome and do something that he didn't like to do. So that leaves us with one last task for me to do today, which is talk about money and the goal. So this is like the hottest topic. Everybody's like, I want, this typical, I want $1 million in 2023. And I usually ask why? Why not 2 million? Why not 3 million? The more the better, because this money is hypothetical. If you observe your relationship with money, though, if you remember your experience in the past, money shows up when needed. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. One man got divorced and separated, and he wanted to, find a place, but he didn't have enough sufficient money. But somehow he started, working out the solution how to rent an apartment close to his daughter's school. And by trying to solve the problem, he found a very interesting solution. His friends or acquaintances let him stay in the apartment, not for the rent, but for a low rent that just covered the utility bills. And he lived there for years. It was fine with them. He probably solved the problem too. So this type of situation, this type of goals, I call situational type of goals, where there is certain problem that needs to certain funds or needs certain, and I'm trying to solve it. There is another type of goal in connection with money, which is systematic. It's, for example, when a baby is born and the family decides we need new, better, higher income, and they calculated they needed 1,000 more per month that will enable them to move into a bigger apartment, sell this one, buy a new one, and also then start saving money for the baby, for the education of their child. So plus 1,000, it was change on the systematic level. And I asked why. When they came to me, I asked, why do you need this 1,000? And they told me their story about their baby and their plans. So I recommend with money, never set goals in money wise, in terms of amount of money that you want. Always set the goal why you want this amount. What kind of need or desire stands behind this amount? And that's because for your brain, money is something really vague, something unclear. What is this? What does it mean, 1,000? What does it mean, 1 million? It's abstract. So step number one, when you have this idea about money, is to understand if it's a situational goal or a systematic goal. If it's a situational goal, then you try to use the existing resources that you have right now. It can be your goods, for example, sell goods what you have more expensively, or produce more goods or services, or product lines, whatever you have now existing, or friends or acquaintances. So situational is about what I have now. How can I solve the problem? for example, you want to go to Australia and it's like cost enormous amount of money, and but you have a perfect life, you have life, work life balance. You just want this additional 10,000, and so you think, okay, maybe I can rent my house and move to my parents, or maybe something. You'll find the solution from the existing resources. When it's systematic, then you have to create a new system, like new baby, new house, and new fund for her education. So then you have to ask yourself, what kind of new system I'm going to create, from how different it is from others, how different it's from my old system, and how different is it from others, why people will pay to me 1,000 more, what difference will I make? And again, those three magical questions: what is it that I'm going to have, what is it that I'm going to do compared to what I did in the past or didn't do, that I'm going to do now, that will bring me this 1,000, and what is it that I'm going to be now, will help, especially a question about do. What is it I'm going to do? What difference will it be for me, for myself, how different I'm going to be from the others? For example, if I have 1,000 clients, and obviously if I want more, I need 2,000 clients. How will I get those 2,000? Or for example, if I answer the phone from 9 to 5, and others have a 24/7 system of answering their phone calls. So what is it that I do? Which system will I introduce that will enable me to answer those phone calls of potential clients 24/7, and so much, and so on. And the last thing is, my recommendation about money is that don't create goals connected with way bigger amount. For example, if your salary is 40,000 K per year and you want 1 million, your brain is going to go nuts. So be realistic. If it's 40,000, set up a goal, what you're going to do that will bring you, let's say, 20,000 additional. Or if you're a business owner and you have 100,000 of profit, then set a goal or several goals, what you're going to do so that they bring you 50 more thousand, of profit, but not 1 million, because it's not realistic. It's the way to sabotage your goal. So my last, mistake that I want to mention is that the abstract and huge amounts that we set as a goal. Set goal of action in your zone of control. And that's all that I wanted to mention today. So to recap, there are 9 mistakes that we make. The unclear goal, the goal that is too big, too many goals, the goal that is outside of the zone of our control, then that we are not ready to pay the price. Then the goals that can deviate, that don't directly lead to our goal. The next one is we're not ready to change. We are not prepared for discomfort. And the last one is abstract goals about money. It has to be about actions that we do. So that's an overview about the main mistakes that we do. And if you're interested in this topic more, if you want to check, how you're doing with the goals, or if you want to understand your personality type and understand what holds you back, from reaching those goals, or what slows you down, then contact me in the DM or comment below. And I wish you to achieve your goals successfully. I hope that I helped you in a way. And bye for now.